Mr. Matt is muted, so can we start? We can just unmute him.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Where is he? Yeah. Okay. So good evening, one and all present here. We are very happy to announce that Mindcraft is once again back with one more session. And we are thankful to Mr. Matt, Jain sir and Dr. Subhashri ma'am to make us collaborate with the college, and we are especially thankful to Subhasini ma'am for the same. So would like to give the brief introduction. As we all know that Mr. Matt is founder of EQ, and we have the collaboration with Mr. Matt, EQ for Peace and Minecraft webinar series, and we jointly arrange many sessions regarding the seminars regarding mental health issues, right? So briefly, if I would like to say about the ma'am, then Dr. Subhashini ma'am, we are thankful to you for giving us the opportunity to present our views, and we are thankful to Mr. Matt for joining us today. Dr. Subhashini is Dean of Madras School of Social Work, Chairperson for Center of Excellence in Health Psychology, retired professor and head of JBAS College Psychology Department, General Secretary of World Psychologist of Congress, and many more credentials to mention, but want of time, I take a privilege to welcome ma'am to facilitate with her message on World Suicide Prevention Day. So over to you, Subhashini ma'am, if you would like to say something, and I would like
definitely.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you, Pratiksha, for that nice introduction. First time I'm meeting you, I'm very happy to have met both you and Mr. Jain. A very good participants who are present. Just got a message that we are already over and it's already present. So it's very nice that a lot of people have assembled for this meet. It has a lot of relevance also. To start with, to all of us in here, Mr. and Mr. Jain and the person, Mr. Matt, I'm pronouncing his word correctly. Mr. Matt seems very comfortable.
Yeah.
He's the COE
of my camera is not working. I'm going to jump out of the meeting and come right back in. I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
I think he will be joining within a moment. Mr. Matt, yeah. Maybe some network issues is disconnected, or he'll be back in the
Yeah. With Mindcraft, I'm happy that we are collaborating with Mindcraft on behalf of MSSW. And I thank also Dr. Subhashri for having got us connect with Mindcraft, which is doing wonderful work. It is, of course, 10th September seems to be a reminder for all of us because it is the Suicide Prevention Day. I come from Tamil Nadu. It has a lot of, and Tamil Nadu contribute a significant number to this negative word called suicide. Okay, and that is why probably all of us must be very much associated with suicide preventions, because as psychologists, as citizens of any country, this is a word that does not appeal to any of us, and it should not, and we should take it as sincere effort to see what we can do to prevent it. And please reach out. About 100 odd people are here. It is a boundary to see we reach out to anybody in distress. So I'm sure Mr. Matt is going to talk about, from an emotional intelligence point of view, how one takes care of oneself. So it is very necessary that all of us do our best just three important words that I would like to reach out to you is to send you a message. Just see that each of us builds our self-confidence. So that self-confidence itself is a very positive thing that will see that you don't think in terms of this word called suicide or the thought of suicide. Apart from self-confidence, hope is very important. If each of us develop the strength of hope, it's going to be very meaningful for life. And another important thing that I would think of is connect with people. All of us have to have some sort of a gratitude. Gratitude, you need to think of your parents when you're thinking of suicide, your family, your siblings, if it is the younger generation, please think of your teachers, friends. All of these matter to society itself. We owe something, so each of us needs to think on. So these three important words for me are self-confidence, build self-confidence, have hope, and be thinking in terms of gratitude, because we all owe somebody something. So just bringing life is important. Suicide is a crime. Okay, so we have every right to nurture ourselves, develop ourselves, do anything positive to see that positivity is there, and just say no to suicide. So whether it is for self or for others, we need to reach out people in distress and see that there is a no to suicide. With that note of no to suicide, I over to thanks, wonderful opportunity, and all my dear colleagues who are present there. And I don't know the 100 odd people who are present there. A very good evening and a warm welcome to this meet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Subhashini ma'am, for your great words. And even I would like to hand over mic over to Subhashini ma'am. Let me introduce Dr. Subhashri Vanmali, currently working as a head of the department in psychology, MSSW. She's also working as a president of TNCA, that is Tamil Nadu Counselors Association, and associate founder of member of Red Pond and Yellow Pond. So just two words from you, ma'am. Subhashri ma'am.
Thank you so much, Pratiksha, for the introduction. I take a privilege to welcome on behalf of Madras School of Social Work all of you for this event on remembering the importance of suicide prevention. I really thank Mr. Matt to make a point to collaborate with us in all point of view, and I'm really happy. All my colleagues are here, and all my students are also joined here. And there are a few from outside also, practitioners and also psychologists are here. So it will be a wonderful, insightful session for all of us on EQ, handling and suicide prevention from the EQ perspective. So we are happy and overwhelmed. I don't want to take much time. We are eager to listen to Matt. So with this note, I would like to say that, and everybody has some other issues going on during this pandemic. We in MSSW are running an helpline also. So we have been contacted during this entire period for various assistance, especially counseling for mental health, depression and other aspects. So we have been getting a lot of calls with that. We really help youngsters in this note, and there is always somebody to help us. So keep in mind that you can seek help if you really feel distressed. So there is always a point of help for all of us. So one point is having hope, optimism, and as well as ma'am said, gratitude. Along with that, seek help if you really feel like it is nothing wrong. Please come forward to seek help. There are so many good souls that are available to help you. Thank you so much. It is over to you, Pratiksha, so that we can have Matt.
Yeah. Thank you, Subhashri ma'am. Thank you so much for your wonderful words. Now, I would like to welcome Mr. Matt. Mr. Matt, as we all know, is working with EQ for Peace, and he is always working and ensuring and encouraging people for mental health, especially the spread of EQ. So over to you, Mr. Matt. Would like you to come up with your speech without not taking much of my time and much of your time as well.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. This is great. I appreciate being involved, and I appreciate being able to spread the word some about emotional intelligence. I think it's a critical subject. I think it's the key, one of the keys to suicide prevention. And so I'll go into depth about that. I appreciate being involved with the school, and I appreciate Jayan and Pratisha inviting me. So we are partnered in a number of ways. We did another workshop yesterday, and we're we're spreading the word and together, and it's a beautiful thing. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But my name's Matt again. I don't have a ton of formal education in this subject or any subject, but I have a ton of experience. I've been teaching this for like 35 years now, and we have a lot of people involved, and we've tried different things, and some things work, some things don't, and I'm trying to sum it up so that I can share this, because like for me, I was pretty disappointed with my education growing up. I went all the way through college and I learned lots of good stuff, but I didn't know how to deal with me. I didn't know how to deal with me. So once I started figuring out that actually the problem, I thought I was broken. I thought I was a mess, and I was, but never mind. But I found out that a lot of it was that I had no idea how to deal with my thoughts and my feelings, my inner world. I had no idea. I wasn't taught. We didn't learn about it in school. My parents sure didn't want to talk about it. My dad was in the military. My parents loved us, but they tried their best, but they had no idea. They still don't. I've talked to him about it since then. I'm like, Dad, why did you teach us this stuff? And he said, hey, he goes, you know me, I wouldn't know feeling if it slapped me upside the head. It was his exact words, and which is true, but he's starting to learn. He's trying to now. So now I'm having to teach my dad, which is interesting. So what I found out is that I wasn't that I was so broken, partly, but it was mostly because I didn't know how to deal with my thoughts and my feelings. And then I found out neither does anybody else. And so now I've taken it on as my mission to spread the word, to let people know about this, because they don't know that they don't know. They're not looking for this, but we got to teach them anyway. Let's see. Let's talk about emotional intelligence. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll go through PowerPoint. One thing I do want to say, though, before we even get started, is that I am a big fan of social workers. I'm a big fan of social work. Social workers are, in my opinion, is one of the most difficult tasks on the planet, one of the most difficult jobs. People not only difficult being emotionally. Not only do you have to deal with people who are in pain and having troubles and some of the most horrific life events that they're going through, and you as a social worker go through all this commotion, having to help them and be in that situation and be in that environment and being powerless a lot of times and having to follow a bunch of rules and not being able to help, and just your heart just we've taught a lot of social workers in particular, and in California, there was one of the counties in California had approved as a what's it called, EAP program, that social workers came to us for help. Because they weren't dealing with stuff very well. It's such a hard job, and I don't know, it's tough. So you as a person need to deal with emotional intelligence, and we need to teach people how to deal with their emotions, both. So I just wanted to say that you guys, social workers, I bow to you guys. It's a huge thing, and we appreciate what you're doing. We do very much. So I'm saying that emotional intelligence is one of the keys to not suicide. Again, suicide, it's a prevention measure, and it's one of the ways that we can not do suicide. And I'll show you how in a minute. So suicidals don't usually want to end their life. They want to end their pain, and they don't know how. And I had a conversation just yesterday with a fellow that was hurting, and that's almost exactly what he said. I don't want to end my life, but I do want to end my pain, and I don't know how. So emotional intelligence can help us with that. Suicidals often feel powerless, like they have little or no control over their lives and their destiny, right? And emotional intelligence can help with that too. We can help us gain power and control over our lives inside. And I'll go into depth on that one because it's critical to this whole thing. Whatever's happening outside, we get to control what happens inside, and that is a beautiful thing. If you're control freak like me, then I want to be in control. I want to have this power to manage myself. And so this gives me the power, and I like that. I like that. And I encourage you to do the same. It seems kind of silly, but it's, you know what I mean. And also, suicidals often feel agitated and anxious and afraid and hopeless and depressed and angry or resentful and victimized, abused, all kinds of negative feelings, and they don't know what to do with it. They don't know. These are all natural feelings. They're all normal stuff. But what do you do with it? What do you do with it? And they're in pain, and they think it's going to continue forever. And they go, you know what? I'm out of here. I don't want to do this. I won't do this. And that's the ultimate choice, but ouch, right? Emotional intelligence can help us deal with our thoughts and our emotions so they can be we can understand them, we can accept them, we can release them, we can learn from them, we can manage this powerfully, our inside world, so we don't have to leave. We can do better. I don't think I have a slide on this, but you're familiar with positive psychology, I hope, or probably, right? Positive psychology. One of the premises of positive psychology is that historically, for the last 1,000 years or whatever, the purpose of therapy and psychology was to go from disorder back to normal, which is basically negative to zero. They're good. We get people, okay, are you okay? We get people back to okay, right? Well, with positive psychology, they said, you know what? We can study people who are doing well, and we can do better than that. We don't have to just get back to normal. We can do better than that. We can succeed. We can be happy. We can connect. We can have wonderful relationships. We can do better than that. So we can go from negative to zero and actually up to positive, even though we've had problems, even though we've had pain in our life, even though we've had trauma, we can do better by learning this stuff. So, and learning about ourselves. So I'm calling it positive mental health. The term mental health usually has negative connotation to it, right? Like you're in pain and you have issues and stuff, which is usually accurate, but it has kind of a negative spin to it. Positive mental health means even though I've got issues, I can do better. I can do better. I can do better. I don't have to just get back to zero. So you get the idea. So breathe. EQ is the study of you and me and we, us together. It's about learning about ourselves and learning about each other. And what we're finding, as I'm sure you know, is that in your society and ours both, emotions are not honored. They are not taught in schools much. We're starting to, yay. And they aren't talked about, and we're not taught about them, and we don't deal with them. We just, I don't want to talk about that. But it turns out that our emotions matter a lot more than most people ever imagined. So I'm saying pay attention to them. They matter. I'm not saying necessarily act on them, but do pay attention to them. And so make them more important to you and other people than they were before, please. We can be smart about our thoughts and our feelings. Most people never even imagined that they could be smart about their feelings. They don't even want to talk about them, but they sure as heck don't know that they can be smart about them. And so to me, I'm jumping them down about please, not only can you be aware of them, but also use them wisely and learn from them and accept them, our feelings and stuff, because that's accepting ourselves. It's kind of the core to self-esteem and self-trust and self-awareness and self-mastery, is learning about ourselves and accepting what's going on inside, and then we can adjust it, we can change it. Spin it to win it, I call it. Spin it to win it. I like acronyms and hashtags. But we can take what's going on and turn it so that it works for us. But first, we got to be aware, right? First, we got to be aware. We cannot not think, and we cannot not feel 24/7, 365, right? We cannot. So let's get good at both of those. I highly suggest we get good at both of those, because we're stuck with them. What we're finding, in the United States, people that are bad go to jail, right? If you're really bad, you go to jail. Well, the worst of them, they take them out of the prison population and put them in solitary confinement, right? They put them off in a room by themselves. Well, in the criminal justice system, that's called solitary confinement. In COVID's terms, it's called lockdown. So we are basically taking people from the worst possible situation that we know of, and putting people in a room by themselves, and they're stuck with their thoughts and their feelings, nothing else. And yikes, and it's not going well, as you probably know. Domestic violence is rising, child abuse is rising, divorce is rising, and suicide. Oh my, in your country and ours and a bunch of other countries, shooting up because people don't know how to deal with their own thoughts and their own feelings. They just don't, because they were never taught. And so that's what Diane and Britt and I are going, hey, this is not cool, you guys. There's hope here. There's more to it than this. Let's talk about it, and please learn about it. So, and you guys as social workers, wow, you got your own and other people's to deal with. So I call it a meta-analysis. It's studying you and me and we. It's me studying me. A meta study. It's kind of the big picture. You get up here and look at myself and go, what are you doing? What are you thinking? What are you doing with your thinking? So we think about what we think about is metacognition, and we feel about what we feel about, which is meta emotion, which I'm not sure if that's a real word or not, but you get the idea. It's us looking at us. We can adjust our point of view from, this one little bitty problem that's here in front of me, to, okay, what do I do with my problems? What do I do with problems? What do I do with my thoughts when I have these recurring thoughts? What do I do with that? How do my thoughts create my feelings? Look at that. Watch what happens. And we learn about ourselves from ourselves. To me, it's fascinating. It's the most relevant subject there is, because it's happening 24/7, 365. Like I said, it's happening. So what's more relevant than that? I find it fascinating. I don't know any other subject, or there are other subjects. I don't know too many other subjects where there's no way we can learn it all. There's no way we can learn it all, and it changes over time. And I find me fascinating. Surprisingly, like most people, they want to talk about themselves, and so let's talk about you. How do you deal with stuff? What do you, how do you function? How do you process things? How do you not process things? How do you open up? How do you not open up? That kind of thing. So it's us studying ourselves. It starts with self-awareness. We can't do anything until we're aware, right? So it all starts with self-awareness. This was popularized by Daniel Goleman in a book in 1995 called Emotional Intelligence: Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. It's a very famous book. It's on the Time Magazine's it's number 5 in the top 20 most influential books of all time, of all books. And they're saying that a lot of people now, emotional intelligence is skyrocketing as people are finding out that, oh my, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to do with myself when I'm sitting in a room by myself. I don't know how to do this. It's not going well. Before that, most people still don't know that they don't know. So they are not looking. They're not looking for this as a solution. They don't understand that that's the problem. So they aren't looking. So that's why we're jumping up a bit down about it. And we are excuse me, we are now making some progress. We're making some progress. So self-awareness then goes to self-management. All right. So once we're aware, that's cool. That's a good step. But now what do we do with it? What do I do with it? So we can manage ourselves and do some cool things with this awareness, but awareness first. Next is other awareness. It's important to us about our thoughts and our feelings. Guess what? So are other people. They care about their thoughts and feelings too. How about that? And if we can be aware of that, we aware that they may or may not be aware, but they are their thoughts and feelings are important to them, then we're going to have better relationships, which is the next step. We are going to be able to connect better with people. They like it, surprisingly, if we care about what they think and feel. How about that, right? They like it. And so we're probably going to have better relations. We can shut up and listen to people and let them feel what they feel and think what they think and accept people. I'm going to go big on acceptance here in a minute, but it's about understanding what's going on for other people and appreciating that they care, they're important to them. Their thoughts and feelings are important to them. If we can make it important to us, we have better relationships. You get the idea. And what it ends with, the next step is responsible decision making. And what that looks like is using our left brain and our right brain, our thoughts and our feelings. We mostly focus on our thoughts, and we try to make perfectly logical decisions. I don't know. I was going to say it's impossible, but I'm not going to say that. We can make just logical decisions and ignore our feelings, or we can take our feelings into account and make good, balanced decisions. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. So you get the idea. It's about me managing me. It's about me managing my relationships and dealing with you, and me making better decisions. Oh, by the way, all of this stuff is completely, totally free inside of all of us. Completely free inside of all of us. We are born with all that we need. We just don't know how to use it. So, and it's free. It's all free. Once you understand how to manage yourself, that's it. You get it for the rest of your life. It's all yours. So it's your baby. So, and this all starts with what I call emotional responsibility. This is the biggest point of the whole thing. If you don't learn anything else today, if you don't take anything away from this, but this one point, please, emotional responsibility means that my thoughts and my feelings are mine. They are mine. We own it. If they don't do it to us, people don't make us angry. People don't hurt our feelings. We do that. Our thoughts create our feelings. There's some argument about that. We'll talk about that in a minute, but it's ours. They're ours. We created the thoughts. We created the feelings. We can manage them. We can understand them. We can accept them. We can learn from them, and we can manage what's going on inside of us. All right. If we take responsibility for our own thoughts and our own feelings and our own actions, then we get to have control over our lives, right? We get to. That's a wonderful thing. On the other hand, if we say, oh, it's our parents, it's our teachers, it's the government, it's the COVIDs, it's all the stuff, it's them that are doing it to me, that's probably not going to go as well. We're giving up our control, and that's I don't like that. It's not going to go as well. Bottom line is that if you're blaming them, you become kind of a whiner, blamer, victim kind of person, and you start heading down. if you say, no, this is my anger and it's my fear and it's my sadness and it's my emotions and my stuff that they're mine and I can do something with them, then you can start heading up and then you got the power and control, like I keep saying. So please decide, try it. Take responsibility for your thoughts and your feelings, all of them, not some of them, all of them. And then you can do some beautiful things with your life. You can do some beautiful things. So highly recommend it. No matter what happens outside of us, we have the power to control but manage what happens inside of us, right? So here's kind of how it works more specifically. First off, stuff happens outside of us. Stuff happens. Events happen. There's a bumper sticker about that. You might have seen it. Stuff happens, right? But if we get out of bed in the morning, things happen. Things are going to happen. Even if we don't get out of bed, things are going to happen. But that's outside of us, right? So that's step one. Step two, we have thoughts and feelings about what happened. Okay, now we just brought it inside. Now it's ours. Now it's our baby. We just brought the outside inside, and now it's our problem and our responsibility and our choice and our power. So, right, that's a good thing. So we can be. The next step is be aware of it. Be aware. Awareness is always the first key to change because we can't do anything until we're aware. We can't do anything until we're aware. It's kind of like duh, but it's really important. So awareness is the first step to this whole thing. Oh, I just had a thought. Oh, I just had a feeling. And step two of that is, oh, I just had a thought. I had a feeling. I can accept that. It's okay. Even the negative feeling, it's okay. I had this feeling. I'm feeling angry right now about what just happened. That's not right. Or I'm really afraid. So many people are so afraid now. Obviously with COVIDs and stuff, and make everybody becomes our enemy, which is another horrible thing for us humans. Everybody is dangerous to us, everybody. And so how do you connect with people when everybody's your enemy in a way that can actually kill you, which is unreal. I just can't believe that's what's happening, but that is what's happening. So we accept that, right? We accept what's happening. We accept our emotions. We accept our thoughts. We accept ourselves. We accept others. We accept. Get good at that. That's one thing I'm working on. Luckily, it's one thing I'm fairly good at. I accept things pretty well, rather than fight it, deny it, lie about it, drink over it, eat over it, that kind of stuff. We just accept it. So it only takes us long, boom, 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 1 second speed of thought. But a lot of people fight stuff and fight it and fight it and fight it. You can do that if you want to. It's your nickel. It's your choice. I suggest you accept things. Boom. That's just is how it is. Wayne Dyer, I don't know if you guys know, he was a great quote and personal growth guy, Dr. Wayne Dyer. He just passed away a couple years ago. He said, it is how it is, exactly as it is. That's the key to personal growth. Just that one statement, accepting that it is how it is. I mean, how can you argue with that? But you can understand that that's one of the critical definitions of this whole thing. So awareness, acceptance. Okay, I had a thought and I have a feeling. Okay, what do I want? Do I like those? Are they working for me? Are these good thoughts? Are they good feelings? I'm looking at me, right? So I'm evaluating what's going on inside. I then make decisions on that. And again, those decisions are based on our thoughts and our feelings, not just our thoughts and our feelings. And the way that looks is, does this make sense? The decision I'm getting ready to make, does it make sense? And does it feel good or feel right? Both. Does it make sense logically? And does it feel good? Now, if stuff makes a lot of sense, but it doesn't feel good, I don't know, you may or may not want to do that. You decide. Or some stuff feels really good. They're called addictions. No, I mean, some stuff feels really good, but it doesn't make any sense. Don't be careful. Don't do it. Well, you can if you want to, but just know that you're trying to balance. I'm trying to make sense and feel good. It's kind of like we have a bunch of grandkids, and we tell them, does it, like with food, does it taste good? And is it good for you? A lot of stuff tastes really good and it's really bad for you, or it's really good for you and it tastes awful. right? But so we're trying to get both. We're trying to get both balanced. And this is the same thing with, does it make sense and does it feel good? So we evaluate, we decide, and then we take some action. Now, the action part is critical. That's where it starts going back outside of us again. We took what happened, we processed it inside of us, and now it's coming back out as an action, right? Because other people can see it. Or a non-action, which means I'm deciding not to do anything about this. All right. What that means is that in big emotions, non-action is sometimes a really good idea. A really good idea. Don't do it. Don't say it. Don't hit them. Don't leave. Just don't take any action. A lot of times that is an action. A. B. It's a good action in a lot of cases with big emotions is to do nothing or keep your mouth shut, or maybe I don't want to blast my professor or my boss or my wife, whatever. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to not do that. I'm going to not take action. And that does not make us a victim. What it means is that I'm deciding not to act. I am deciding not to act. So now it's back in my court again. I have the power control again. I may not do anything, but I'm deciding not to do anything. And that's a wonderful thing, that, in my opinion. So awareness, acceptance, action. I'll talk more about that in a minute, but those are kind of the three magical steps to emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence has a science to it. So I don't know if I have a slide on this or not, but it has a science to it. The way our brain works, the way our synapses work, the way our amygdala works, the way our prefrontal cortex works. That's all science-based, and that's interesting stuff. I'm not going to be talking about that stuff today, but it's cool, and learn about it because it's real, it's happening. And there's an art to it, and the art to it is, what do I do with that? Okay, well, that's how my synapses work. Okay, but now that I see that how those work, here's what I can do with it. That's kind of the art to it. That's our personality. That's our choice. That's our choices, and you can do that the rest of your life. We can get better at it the rest of our lives, and so it's important that that we take that into account. And so awareness, the science plus the art becomes magic. I call it EQ is kind of magical. It is. There's so much that it can help. There's so much it can do, and it's free. It's totally 100% free inside of all of us. And to me, that's kind of magical. It's wonderful. So back to my chart here. Once we become aware, we accept, we make a decision, we act or not, and a bunch of actions then become who we are, what we do, our behaviors, and that's the life results we get, right? That's what happens. So we took the outside, we processed it inside, and we use that information that's outside and inside to make a cool life, basically to make a cool life, to do what we need to do and be who we want to be. To me, that's kind of magical. So these are tools. EQ is about tools, but the goal is peace. The goal is peace. The goal is inner peace. In more specifically, I can teach you about tools, but I can't necessarily teach you about inner peace because that's up to you. Inner peace is very, very private, and it's very personal, and it's about you. And what does that mean? What do you feel when you're peaceful? Go ahead and put in the chat if you want to. What is inner peace for you? What does it feel like? When do you know when you're feeling it? When was the last time you felt it, kind of thing? So look into that and understand and be able to have a picture of where you are peaceful, how you are peaceful, what does it feel like when you are peaceful? And that's what we're trying to get to. That's the goal of this. And I like this statement: inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. So that is personal power. Also, that's a definition of personal power, but it's also how we can have some calmness and some stability and some solidarity to our lives, is to know that we are in charge of us. We are in charge of us. To me, that's a beautiful thing. there's different kinds of peace. We have, this is, Science, Art, and Magic. I just mentioned that. This is our nonprofit that I started because like I mentioned, I was real disappointed with my training and my schooling. So now we're going, hey, this is really important. Let's bring this out to the world. And we're using emotional intelligence to create peace. So there's inner peace inside of me. There's interpersonal peace between us. And then there's social peace, which is among us, which is all of us. So we are doing, hopefully you're feeling fairly inner peaceful right now. And we are doing social peace as we speak right this moment. It's working right now. Everybody seems to be getting along and there's no fighting among us. The 97 of us that are here, we're doing okay. We're being peaceful right this minute. So that's pretty cool. And the basis for the nonprofit is that if we can teach enough people to be peaceful, how to be peaceful inside and in their own little world, if we can teach enough people that maybe someday everybody can get along, everybody, and we can create some global peace. So that's the objective. We'll see. Wish us luck. Help us out because it's really important that we get this out to the world. We got a long way to go. Emotional intelligence is doing very well. It's skyrocketing now that people are realizing how bad it is, how this big void that's happening. And so that's cool, but we have so much more to do, Most people don't know about emotional intelligence. They never even heard it, never even understood the concept, never dreamed of that you can be smart about your insides, never considered it. So we got some work to do. And I'm going to ask you at the end is please share what you're learning with somebody else, anybody else. Share it, because they don't know, and they don't know that they don't know, which means they're not looking. So a lot of people, if you know that you have a void or you have a problem, then you can look for an answer, but they don't know that that's the problem. That lack of emotional intelligence is, in my opinion, number 2 problem in the world today. Number 2 problem in the world today. You know what number 1 is, but number 2 is that we don't know. And that's causing, like I said, some awful things. Not only I said about suicide and domestic violence and all that kind of stuff, but also like addictions and divorce and mental health problems and abuse and violence and terrorism. And actually what we're finding now is that there's a bunch of studies going on about how our lack of emotional intelligence is actually causing physical problems, which means now we're getting into the big bucks. I mean, this sounds kind of bad, but the big bucks are in healthcare now, and because people don't want to be in pain and they don't want to be broken. So healthcare is a huge part of this, but now they're finding that emotions, lack of emotional understanding and lack of dealing with our emotions can cause physical problems, and bad physical problems. The biggest ones, biggest diseases and cancer and diabetes and all that stuff are affected by lack of emotions. They get stuck in our body. We have tense areas, or we interrupt our biology with our emotions by keeping our body tight, by doing things to ourselves that eventually end up really badly for us. And so that connection between emotion and physical is huge, and that is happening, and that is a beautiful thing. It's gone all the way up to, I know in the United States, all the way up to Surgeon General, which is as high as you can get medically. The Center for Disease Control, they're doing, I don't think I have a slide on this, but they're called the ACE studies. I can put it in the chat. It's ACE, adverse childhood experiences. Adverse childhood experiences, which are ACEs. And what that looks like is they are studies that were started by a hospital system here in the US. And what they did is they came up with, I got to meet the guy who came up with this, is pretty cool, but they came up with just these 10 questions, 10 yes or no questions, very, very simple. Yes or no questions. Were you abused? Yes or no? Did someone in your childhood, was someone in your family incarcerated in jail? Was somebody an addict in your family? Was there, were you neglected or abandoned? That kind of thing. Yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. And what they found is that the more yeses, the more likely that you have. They found a direct correlation between the number of yeses and the possibility and probability that you are going to have severe physical problems as a child, as an adult. Ooh, sorry, I sent that to only one person. Here it is. Oh, whoop. Just a second. Okay, let me write it one more time. Adverse childhood experiences. I suggest you look it up. There's a ton of stuff on this now, and it is huge if you're interested in how we can make the connection between emotions and physical ailments or issues or illnesses. So I diverge, sorry. The way this works, the theory is, and we are finding this to be true, but you have to use your own judgment, is that EQ, which is emotional intelligence, leads to ER, which is emotional responsibility, which gives us power and control of our lives, which can create some inner peace, which means we probably aren't going to commit suicide. So to me, this is kind of the foundational change to the whole thing. This is one of the biggest prevention measures, is to teach people how to deal with their thoughts and their feelings, to teach kids, people, everybody. Little kids can understand it. Big kids like us can understand it. And we can put it to use pretty quickly, pretty powerfully, and often permanently. So emotional intelligence can, in my opinion, can lead, it's hard to prove it, obviously, but it can lead to no suicide. I do have statistics on number of people who have said to me, okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I've had people say, I'm going to do it. I'm out of here. And then they learned about stuff and they decided not to do it. So, I mean, that's very basic research on my opinion. That's as scientific as I get. You're not gonna do it, right? Right. Okay, good. And they're still here. But they had a plan. There's 3 steps to it. Are you thinking of committing suicide? Do you have a plan? And do you have the means to carry out that plan? And have you decided that's what you're gonna do? If they're yes to all of those, warning, right? That's very bad. That person needs some serious attention. Try to not to leave them alone. Try to get them some help right away. But that brings up another thing, is it okay to talk about it? I think that there's arguments about this, but most of what I'm hearing these days is yes, please do talk to them about it. Ask them about it. If some people have said in the last seminar we did, they said, wait, isn't that going to trigger them? Well, no, apparently not, because, well, I shouldn't say no 100%, because that's a generality and all generalities are wrong. No, it's a joke. We can, if we ask people about it, then it brings it up, it brings it to the forefront, makes it so that they actually think somebody gives a damn, that cares about them, and that they can, that there is hope, that there is someone out there, and some connection and that kind of thing. If you don't talk, they said, well, maybe they didn't think of it. They thought of it. They thought of it. This isn't rocket science. They thought of it. They're like, oh, I don't want to be in pain anymore. How do I get out of this? Well, unfortunately, suicide is an option. It is an option, and it's the main choice. I mean, it's one of our ultimate choice, I guess I should say. So they have thought about it. So talk about it. How much? Rate your pain. That's another thing. Rate your pain. In the medical profession here in the United States, they got in the emergency room and in doctors' offices. I see them all the time up on the wall. Rate your pain, 1 through 10. And what that does is it gives you perspective, and it gives you the ability to to look at it and go, well, actually I've had worse. This is bad, but I've had worse. And it gives you the ability to share with other people how bad is it inside of you. The other thing that it does is that it jumps you over from the right brain to the left brain by rating things, quantifying stuff. Ask people, how bad is it? How bad is it, and how sure are you that this is what you want to do? And they're like, no, 10, I'm done, I'm out of here today or tomorrow, kind of thing. Then yikes. They go, well, I'm thinking about it, I thought about it, I'm probably not going to do it, or I thought about it as an option. And I go, yeah, it's an option, but let's try some other options, shall we? Please, first. It becomes a I think Cheyenne said it is a permanent solution to a temporary problem, but it feels permanent. It feels huge to these people a lot of times, and it's not good, not good. So some of the benefits to EQ, some of the benefits, look at this list. We get choices, we get freedom, we get personal power, we get love, we can have more love, we can have more intimacy. We can, one of the biggest skills, I don't think I have it in here, and one of the most wonderful things about emotional intelligence is we get to decide, again, power and control, we get to decide how much we open our heart or how much we close our heart. That's up to us. How open do you want to be in any given moment, in any given situation with any given person? We get to decide how open or how closed we want to be. And which I also don't think is in here, the better that we can manage ourselves, the better we can manage our negative feelings, the more we can open up. That seems weird, but it's true. If we can deal with our fear, our anger, and our sadness, those three in particular, the big three, I call them the big three negatives, our fear, our anger, and our sadness, if we can deal with those to the depth that we need to, that the depth that our body feels them, then we can risk more, we can be more open, we can be more loving, we can get in front of a bunch of people and give a presentation, because I never would have done this a couple of years ago. There's no way I would have done this a couple of years ago, because I didn't know, my fear of abandonment and my fear of rejection and my fear of looking stupid and all that kind of stuff. Well, you know what? I'll deal with that. I'll deal with it. If I can deal with it, then I can do more. I can be me. I can be more open and be more loving and be more louder, and I can woo. And I can have more fun. One of my big things. And so if you can deal with your fear, anger, and sadness, those three big things, to the depth that your body feels them, then there just isn't that much that life can throw at us that we cannot handle. That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to me. So learn about negative emotions so that we can be more positive. It's pretty cool, huh? We get better results. We can be more successful. We can be a better leader if we want to. We can be a better follower. We can be a better teammate if we want to. We can celebrate ourselves. We can have self-esteem. We can take care of ourselves better. We can learn to like and love ourselves. That's all about emotional intelligence too. We can find our purpose for living. That's a big deal. Some of the suicidal folks are, suicide prevention folks are saying that that people who are suicidal have lost their purpose for living, And if we can help people get back to or find their purpose or create one, then they can stick around. Then it's bigger than them. Then they have a reason to live, kind of thing. And it becomes bigger, more important than the pain. When the pain's this big, but our purpose is not that big, then it seems awful and I'm out of here, right? But if you can adjust it, again, balance, if we can have, I understand the pain, take that pain and use it to create your purpose, to do what you need to do, to be who you want to be, then the things shift and it seems more doable and possible and acceptable, and we can stick around and do that. So this is foundational stuff, but it's working. So we can have better relationships, we can have better culture, we can heal our pain, we can heal our past, stuff that happened to us in the past. We can be better off because of our pain. That is such a cool thing to me. I don't know that I have a slide in here on that on the subject, but you've heard of PTSD, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder, which means you're a mess because stuff happened to you, right? Or you saw stuff or you experienced stuff and it's bad. I mean, it can be awful. It can be awful, PTSD. But there's another concept called PTSG, which is post-traumatic stress growth. And what that means is same thing, is that you don't have to be a mess because of what happened to you, to us. We can be better off even though stuff happened to us, because stuff happened to us. I mean, I've had some pretty awful things happen in my life. I'm sure you have too. And what do you do with it? Not what do you do about it? What do you do with it? Those are very, very different. I think I do have a slide on that, differentiating between an action, which is what do I do about this problem, if you can do anything, versus what do you do with it? What do I do with that? What do I do? Now it's happened, it's in me. What do I do with it? That's a different deal. That's feelings and emotions. And so having that differentiation allows us to take control and do some beautiful things. So we can heal our past, we can be better off because of it, create a wonderful future for ourselves and the best possible present and future, both for ourselves and people that we love. So I like this slide. This is kind of cool about inner peace. Some of the symptoms are usually problems, but this is the symptoms of inner peace are like loss of interest in judging others, loss of interest in judging yourself. Judgment is a thought. Another thing that we need to do is to distinguish between what's a thought and what's a feeling. I feel like you're an idiot. That's not a feeling, that's a thought, right? It's a thought, and I can change that. I can change what I think pretty easily. They still jump into our mind. I won't say we can control what we think, but we can manage what we think, right? We can have a thought, we go, you know what? I'm thinking negative, like I'm still trying to train myself to not use the word hate. I don't like the word hate. I hate that. No, I won't say it. I don't like the word hate, and I don't like using it in my mind, and I don't like when it comes up in my head that I hate that, because I just don't like it. I'm trying to change it. So whenever I think that I hate that, I have that thought, oh man, I hate this, or I hate something, then I go, whoa. You're trying not to use that word, remember? This is me talking to me. You're trying not to use that word. What's another way you can say that? And we're like, well, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Ooh, that's different. Or I have a judgment about that. Okay, but I'm taking responsibility for my judgment, and it's about me, and that's a thought. And I go, okay, what can I do with that? Again, spin it to win it. I can adjust it a little bit. I can change my judgments, and that will probably change my emotions. Because our thoughts create our emotions. Again, there's some argument about that. Some people say that we feel first and then we think. I think what's most useful for me has been to believe that we have thoughts first, and we think something, we evaluate a situation, we're like, what does that mean? When we see something happen, what does that mean about me, and what does it mean to me? And what do I, and that creates my feelings. If I have a happy thought, I'm going to have happy feelings. If I have an angry thought, I'm going to have angry feelings, huh? But they're thoughts. And the good news is that we get to manage our thoughts, and we get to move them around and train ourselves to have different thoughts. It's pretty cool. So that again gives me power and control. So here's a cool argument that a lot of people have about nature versus nurture. We are born with only a few fears. There's debate about this again. People are, a lot of very, very educated and important people think that are absolutely sure of how it is, And a bunch of other people who are very much the same, educated and have done research and stuff, believe completely differently. And so what I've heard and what I've heard is that we're born with two fears, fear of falling and a fear of loud noises. All right. But again, this is really hard to prove, because how do you know what we're born with? Because you can't, the kids can't report it. So if you're only born with two fears, but here's the point to this whole thing. That's only those two fears. That means that all the fears that you have now and all the anger you have now, how much anger are you born with, right? Not much, and none probably. All your fear and anger that you have now was basically made up by you along the way. That's another good news. That's another emotional responsibility thing, is that we created that stuff. We created it. We picked it up. We decided how to be, and we can redecide. We can unlearn what we learned, and we can change it. We can change it. And that gives us power and control again. So that's a beautiful thing. So know that most of what's the issues you have now, you weren't born with them, and so you can change them. I mentioned this about positive mental health. Positive, we can do better. Basically what we're dealing with is our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, those three biggies. Actually, I think this should be thought, feeling, decision, action, because in the decision part is where where we have the power. And it gives us the ability to make good decisions. For example, this is how Dr. Frankel said, between stimulus and response, there is a space, okay? And that means stimulus is outside of us, response is inside of us. What are we gonna do with it? And there's a space in there. And in that space is our power to choose our response. That's emotional intelligence. That's the core of emotional intelligence, is being able to take what's happening when it comes in, and I get to choose what I do with that, what I do with it, what I do about it. I get to choose, and we can learn to choose wisely. So again, back to this, thoughts and feelings create our actions, but actually first they create our decisions. We decide based on our thoughts and our feelings, then we take action or not, right? Cognitive behavioral therapy, one of the most popular therapeutic modalities, same thing, thought, feeling, action, thought, feeling, action, very important. We're basically trying to get our head and our heart to get along. Do we actually have feelings in our heart? You decide. Some people say yes, some people say no. Some people say that it's left brain and right brain. You decide, but you get the idea. We have thoughts and we have feelings. Doesn't matter somewhat where they came from. And the problem is that we are not taught about these. We're not taught about them in school, at home, at work. And so like in our nonprofit, we are trying very hard to focus on the schoolwork at home, would be teachers, parents, and bosses, because they're one step up. It's a top-down approach. The schools, the teachers help the students, right? And so it flows down. It's a ripple effect, we call it. You have more ripple effect, and you guys are a wonderful audience for that. You're going to affect a lot of people, and I'm so super happy to be able to talk to you guys and show you some of this stuff, because you're going to have more effect on people as you go. So we do teachers for school, we do parents for home, and we do bosses for work. And trying to get everybody. The big goal is 6 seconds is one of the biggest EQ trainers in the world. I'll put it in the chat. It's actually 6seconds.org. And their big goal is 1 billion people, teaching 1 billion people about emotional intelligence by the year 2039. The reason that year is because they're one of their founders. That's when she turns 100 years old, and she said, I want a happier world, but before I go, which I think is great. And so we've taken on that same goal, 1 billion people by 2039, and I've actually expanded it to by 2050. Everybody, let's get everybody learns about school or about reading, writing, arithmetic. They need to learn about emotions too. it's just wrong that we are not taught this stuff in school. So we're trying to get it into schools and teach people like you guys. And we're doing classes and we're doing trainings and we're doing videos and we're doing all kinds of stuff to try and get this across to people. Okay. I got about 10 minutes, so I'm go finish up here. Aristotle says, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. That's a little bit severe, but you get the idea. We got to learn both sides. Here's a cool graphic of both sides of our brain. We have our analytical, logical side. Great, we need that. It's super important that we have that. And it's also important that we add the emotional side to it, our right brain. That's the first thing to go in schools. We don't teach it very much. We're all logic based, and it's good that we do the logic, but we need to add the emotions to it as well. So using our whole brain. Awareness, acceptance, action. What do you do with or about? Different distinction. That's important. Our biggest ability, one of our biggest abilities is to be able to open or close our heart. RPG, badass weapon that people carry into war that you can carry yourself. It's called a rocket propelled grenade launcher, and it's does awful destruction, but it's super powerful. Well, in emotions, same thing is one of the most powerful weapons is also RPG I came up with, which is resilience, perseverance, and grit. And you guys probably know what grit is. What makes you grit your teeth? It means this is going to be really hard, and I'm going to do it anyway. Here we go. This is really going to be hard, and I'm going to do it anyway because I can, and I will. So there's books and books on grit now and classes on grit, which is pretty wild. There's grit for kids and grits for teens and grits for adults and grits for teachers, that kind of thing. Not grits. Grits is a food. Grit. Sorry. Anyway, resilience and perseverance and grit are huge emotional intelligence skills. Here's what it looks like. The world sees what's happening, but they don't see all the stuff that's happening underneath the surface. That's emotional intelligence. When bad things happen to us, we have three choices. We can either let it define us, we can let it destroy us, or we can let it strengthen us. And that is like post-traumatic stress growth. Big deal. We can be better off even though. So some takeaways from this. One, again, accept emotional responsibility, accept it. Try it. It's really, really important. If you don't, you're in trouble, in my opinion. But it's up to you. It's your nickel. It's up to you. And we have choice, right? But emotional responsibility. Second, teach somebody else. Show somebody, tell somebody, talk to somebody. Doesn't matter if it's your little brother or your professor or it doesn't, the person in the grocery store, doesn't matter. Tell somebody or ask somebody about, have you ever heard of emotional intelligence? I do that all the time. It's really makes a great conversation starter or deepener. And it's really fun to talk to people. You get a whole different, it just brings it to a different level because you start talking about real stuff. And like, if they say no, have you ever heard of emotional intelligence? They say no. You're like, well, what do you think that might mean? And or if they yes, what's your experience with that? And you start they talk about maturity or making good decisions or trust or that kind of thing, or being smart, etc. So it's a different kind of smart, but it makes for a wonderful conversation. So now that like I said, please share it with somebody else, anybody else. With great power comes great responsibility. It's a cool line from a movie. Anybody know what movie that was? But it's one of my favorites because it's just a great line. We have great power. This emotional intelligence gives us great power, and we then have responsibility because people don't know that they don't know about this. Here's some resources that I can provide for you. Here's a list of 4,000 words in the English language about emotion words, which is really good to be able to describe our inner world, especially to ourselves. But we also, I find it very useful to be able to sum it up into fear, anger, sadness, the big three negatives. And what are you feeling? Fear or anger or sadness or some combination thereof? And if we can deal with those, we can deal with most anything. Also have some quizzes, self-scoring quizzes and such that you can take here. They're very helpful. So sum it up here. We can be friends if you like. Facebook and LinkedIn and WhatsApp. And here's my email address. And this is our nonprofit, eqforpeace.org. Check us out and come over there and join us, because we got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of sharing to do of this important stuff. And people don't know, like I said, they don't know that they don't know. So let's share about that. So all right. So what are you guys taking from this? I hope that it was helpful for you. I hope you have some things to take away from it. I hope you have a better perspective or more intention on learning more about emotional intelligence, about yourself, because that's the key to this whole thing. So what do you got? Talk to me.
Thank you so much, Matt, for the wonderful presentation on EQ, how we can actually enable ourselves to prevent suicide. So from EQ to self-responsibility, that is emotional responsibility, and taking it towards the inner peace was a beautiful message today. And I think all our students and as well as those who have joined us from outside has really been benefited out of this wonderful session. And I'm really happy that our students can be part of this, EQ ambassador, thing which you have already mentioned. I will also ask them to join and volunteer. This is something we are actually working for the human race, that we should all join together, reach out people and spread the awareness about mental health and how important it is to have an emotional responsibility. Thank you once again from Madras School of Social Work. Please accept our gratitude from Madras School of Social Work and Department of Psychology. And we are having counseling psychology in our Madras School of Social Work. They are immensely benefited out of this lecture. And we will also look forward some of the workshops from you. It can be an capsule workshop or modular workshop where we can actually conduct for the students over the online, so that they can better benefit out of how to nurture EQ. And I'm really thankful to Jayan and Pratiksha for the Mindcraft. They have done a wonderful job with a short notice. They connected Matt to us. And also, I really thank Jayan for his enthusiasm and also, responsibility. Everything he has taken care. I just came in today for the, joining the program. He is such a committed person. I really appreciate Jayan for his responsibility and commitment towards the the psychology discipline itself. And I also thank Pratiksha, who is joining and did a wonderful job introducing people and also being part of Mindcraft with us. And I taken opportunity to thank my own colleagues who have been present here. Everybody was busy today. We had a couple of programs simultaneously running because we have been into some other forums also. Everybody was busy in attending many programs today. The entire day is filled with programs for all of us. Because of it is World Suicide Prevention Day. And I'm really happy that mental health professionals are getting into limelight because of this pandemic. One of the reason pandemic has brought us out and reaching out people, and it is really mental health matters. So I thank all my colleagues, Dr. Vaijayanti, Dr. Kalyani, especially Dr. Subhashini, Dean Ma'am, who is present and preceded this, the day, because her message was very important. And I also thank all others who have joined. Dr. Hannah John also joined, and a few of the other people whom I know have joined. Mr. Sangeet Gopinath from UGS joined. He is the head of the department of UG psychology. I'm really happy about all of you joining and supporting all of us. It is most important, the awareness matters created to reach others, like a ripple effect you mentioned. It should reach many people, and it should also touch so many souls that they are having a life, and it is responsibility to take care of it. And thank you so much. And with this note, I would like to conclude. Over to you, Jayan.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am.
Vivian also joined, Shubha.
Sorry?
Thank you, Vivian.
Vivian also joined.
Vivian, one of
Okay,
the
okay.
faculty in
Yes, okay. Okay, thank you very much for providing us to collaborate in such a wonderful program on this day, World Suicide Prevention Day. And I am given the feedback form in the chat box link. Also, our WhatsApp group also, we are given the all the updates in the groups. So kindly fill the feedback form. And thank you very much.
Bye,
So
all.
can you
Thanks for having
wind
me.
up session? Okay, Mr. Have a good day. Yeah.
I'm getting lots of wonderful comments
Yes.
directly to me. And so thank you
Yes,
all
yes.
for,
Thank you. Thank
for
you.
the, thank you for the thank
Matt.
yous. Yeah.
Thank you, Matt.
That's
It
fun.
was a wonderful session.
Oh, good. So learn more about emotional intelligence. It's huge. I have
Yeah.
so much more. You saw it's going as fast as I could. I've got hundreds and hundreds of slides. And so there's way more to it. There's a lot of intricacies to it. And
Yes. We will have a workshop.
We're just scratching the surface.
We will
So
collaborate a
keep going if
workshop
you want
and
to see
we
more.
will do an in-depth one.
We can connect.
Great.
Yes.
Good.
Okay, so can I end up the session?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay,
Thank you. Thank you, Jayan and
yeah.
Pratiksha, and as well as Matt. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, Pradesh, another session immediately she left.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Good day, Matt.
Okay.
Bye. Take care.
Take care.
See you, Jayan.
Okay, bye.
All right. And bye.